Amazing transformation, disabled girl's incredible birthday surprise after stepmom's shocking announcement. Lucy felt a wave of anxiety sweep through her, the smile plastered on her face feeling more like a mask. She had only wanted a quiet birthday, maybe a dinner at the diner with her dad and her closest friends, pancakes topped with whipped cream and laughter echoing off the walls. But that was before Jennifer, her estranged stepmother, had entered the picture once more, her plans bursting with extravagant decorations and loud colors that suffocated Lucy's simple wishes. Now, with the clock ticking down to her sweet 16, pressure tightened around Lucy like a vice. She had spent so many nights sketching, pouring herself into her art in that grungy corner of the abandoned building, unseen yet alive in those vibrant colors of her mural. Each stroke of the brush felt like therapy, a rebellion against the looming celebration that felt so inauthentic. Would anyone even appreciate the hours she spent shaping her pain and hope on that wall? Or would they be too caught up in Jennifer's grand vision to recognize what truly mattered to Lucy? As her father talked excitedly about the party, boasting of the wonderful opportunity he'd given Lucy by accepting Jennifer into their lives, Lucy's stomach twisted painfully with doubt. Deep inside, a voice screamed for recognition, yet Jennifer's dismissive remarks about Lucy's art journey left little room for her to breathe. "Focus on your studies, Lucy, that will truly get you somewhere." Their conversations felt like expansive highways leading away from the core of who Lucy was, a child of creativity and loss. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But the mounting dread of her own birthday was unrelenting. On that stage of friends and family, where would she fit in as the quiet artist overshadowed by Jennifer's gaudy plans? Each day, she questioned if her walls of colorful rebellion would ever be as valuable as the expectations Jennifer placed on her, crushing her spirit with each passing hour. With the big day just a few hours away, Lucy's heart raced at the thought of standing in front of her guests. The urge to reveal her mural dwelled within her like restless electricity, a silent plea to be heard, to express her true self beneath the layers of pressure, but the weight of her stepmother's presence loomed large, a shadow in every corner. Would Jennifer scoff at her creation, or could this be the moment they began to understand each other? As the clock ticked down, Lucy's breath stuttered with irregularity, panic echoing in her mind, her own fears threatening to drown out whatever solace her art offered. The room would not hold her secrets forever, nor the hopes of a girl desperate to be seen. But in a world that looked past her ambitions, was she brave enough to expose her heart? The answer lingered, a mix of dread and fervent hope as the shadows grew longer, matching the churning anxiety within her. Lucy sat in her room, a frantic swirl of emotions coursing through her veins. The vibrant colors of her mural seemed to pulse against the stark white walls, each detail a reflection of her innermost thoughts on one hand, an overpowering longing for acceptance, on the other, the fear of judgment. The days of meticulous work felt almost futile as the gleaming party decorations mocked her raw vulnerability. In an attempt to focus on something other than the chaos around her, Lucy closed her eyes and envisioned the mural as if she were viewing it through someone else's eyes. What if her guests entered that abandoned building instead of the gaudy setup Jennifer had organized? Would they appreciate the depth of emotion stitched into every stroke, the narrative of her struggles and triumphs woven together? The clock chimed, punctuating the silence with the reminder that time was running out. She pushed herself off the bed and wheeled over to her art supplies with a surge of determination. Clutching her brushes, she felt the familiar calm that came with creativity beckoning her. What if, she thought, biting her lip, I could create a piece that combines everything? The celebration, the art, my true self? Rapidly, she started sketching. The concept unfolded like a story, filling the empty canvas with images of laughter, camaraderie, and color. She knew this would not merely be a birthday painting but a representation of her journey, a bridge connecting her fragmented self with the world she felt increasingly alienated from. Yet the reminder of Jennifer's disparaging comments loomed large, casting a shadow over her inspiration. Would they understand? A voice in her head questioned incessantly. Or would they dismiss it like Jennifer tends to do? As the hours slipped by, Lucy found herself balancing between two worlds, the joyful energy radiating from the celebration planning, whispered from the other room, and the deafening isolation of her creative realm. She was drawn into a dilemma. Should she confront her fears and share her mural at the party, risking ridicule, or retreat back into the safe shadow of anonymity where her art thrived in silence? The idea of stepping forward presenting her creation sent a bolt of adrenaline through her, a thrill tinged with dread. She had spent so long shaping her art as both a sanctuary and a prison, but for now, it was difficult to tell which it was. As she looked at her unfinished piece, realization struck her. This was not just a depiction of her external world but a bold declaration of her internal landscape. Each stroke of paint was a whisper of defiance against the expectations piled upon her. The night drew closer, and Lucy could either succumb to the chorus of insecurities that tugged at her or muster the courage to unveil the real her, the artist, the dreamer fighting against the tide of misunderstanding. In that moment of reflection, she resolved that it was time to confront not only the crowd waiting for her but also the expectations shaping her identity. "This is who I am," she murmured to the canvas. The roar of the impending party faded for a brief moment as an ember of resilience flickered within her, lighting a path through the uncertainty. But as she prepared to share her heart in a world that often forgot her, a sudden thought clawed at her heart. What if her stepmother refused to acknowledge her work completely? The truth loomed larger than the excitement, leaving a burning question hanging in the air. Would searching for validation have the power to shatter her? Lucy took one deep breath, the weight of the moment settling in, as she thought, "The time had come to face my truth." Lucy felt a wave of nausea wash over her, as she caught a glimpse of her reflection in the window. The worry etched into her features mirrored the fear swirling inside her. Resolved to add that bold finishing touch to her mural, she took a deep breath and unleashed her paintbrush across the canvas in fervent strokes. With each application of color, she was infusing the piece with her dreams, fears, and aspirations, a tangible representation of herself in a world that often felt relentless and critical. As she painted, a small part of her wondered if sharing her art would mark a turning point in her relationship with her stepmother. Time and again, Jennifer had downplayed her artistic pursuits, often dismissing them as childish whims. But tonight she yearned for acknowledgement. She didn't crave praise, merely recognition of the effort and emotion woven into her work. Through this mural, she aimed not just to express herself but to reclaim a measure of power that had often been stripped away with each scoff or derisive remark. The clock mercilessly ticked away, each second echoing in the back of her mind. She was running out of time. Lucy needed a decision, and fast. With a flick of her wrist, she added a burst of yellow, the color of hope and warmth, aspirational rays breaking through her former darkness. It was a call to stand tall, to be noticed not just for her disability or her art, but as Lucy, the artist, the individual with a voice worth listening to. Suddenly, her hands halted mid-stroke. What if they didn't understand her? What if the very act of unveiling this piece, the very act of sharing, was what would stifle her voice further? The thought pricked at her heart like a thorn. The idea of being met with disapproval loomed like a heavy veil around her moment of vulnerability. She could retreat now and hide behind her palette, escaping the harsh light of critique, the audience's judgment. But in doing so, was she not forfeiting the chance to cultivate understanding? This internal conflict drove her to question her motives. Was she merely seeking validation, or was this a formative moment in expressing her authentic self? She weighed the possibility, to confront her fears and embrace the applause or critiques, or to retreat into the safe cocoon of private artistry. In her mind she replayed the voices of those who had admired her past work, the kind words from her supportive friends, their belief in her talent. They lingered like an echo, igniting a glimmer of confidence. Maybe she could make this her turning point. Maybe tonight, in her vulnerability, she would empower herself and redefine their perception of her. With a final flourish, she stepped back to survey her mural. The colors vibrated with life, a celebration of authenticity, heart, and fierceness. Each brushstroke chipped away at the self-doubt that had once shrouded her creativity. As she wheeled herself toward the exit, determination coursed through her like electricity. The atmosphere outside her room buzzed with excitement, laughter mingled with music, and the bittersweet scent of celebration hung in the air. Lucy knew she had to navigate through that chorus of voices, through the kaleidoscope of festivities to claim her space. Her heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead, uncertainty and anticipation intertwined. Would they accept her work? Would Jennifer's reaction offer her the validation she sought or plunge her deeper into insecurity? Determined to answer these questions, Lucy took a deep breath and opened the door, ready to face the crowd waiting just beyond. Perhaps this night held the potential for transformation, not just for her art but for her entire existence. Little did she know, the true unveiling would lead her to confront not just the audience but the very self she'd been struggling to define. With each turn of the wheel, she pondered one pivotal question: what if this was only the beginning of her artistic journey, where surrendering her fears could unlock a new vision and a deeper identity? As Lucy rolled into the gathering, the sound of chatter enveloped her like a thick fog, swirling around her senses. The room was alive with vibrant conversations and laughter, yet she felt a gravity pulling her towards the mural she had just completed. Each person she passed seemed to embody both an ally and a critic. She could almost feel their eyes assessing her, not just as an artist but as Lucy, the girl with a disability. The mural was the first step she had taken towards claiming her identity away from the shadows of judgment. Just beyond the entrance, she spotted her stepmother, Jennifer, flanked by relatives and friends. Lucy's heart thudded painfully as she recalled each disparaging remark Jennifer had ever thrown her way, but this time the sadness gave way to resolve. Tonight she would not let those memories dictate her actions. Drawing on that surge of determination, she wheeled towards her mural. Flashes of optimism sparked within her. She envisioned the vibrant swirls of color transforming into bridges connecting her world with theirs. Diving deeper into her thoughts, the fears of rejection clawed at her. She questioned whether she was ready to confront her stepmother directly, to stand proud alongside the work that so accurately depicted her soul's yearnings. Nearing the mural, she hesitated, her pulse quickened. Suddenly, she found herself just meters away from the crowd. A small knot of friends had gathered around her artwork, their expressions shifting from curious to astonished. The vibrant mix of colors wasn't merely a celebration of her creativity. It was a declaration of who she was, unfettered by the labels others expected her to wear. Lucy's chest swelled with a strange combination of pride and fear. Taking a deep breath, she maneuvered her wheelchair closer, her determination hardening. Their faces told a story of intrigue. Some were drawn in, visibly touched or fascinated, keeping their voices low as they shared their thoughts. For a moment, it felt as if the world outside had evaporated, leaving this intimate circle illuminated by her mural's brilliance. Jennifer's figure soon approached, armed with her usual skepticism. Lucy held her breath, half expecting a sharp comment designed to cut through her joy. But instead, Jennifer merely looked at the mural, her eyes scanning the colors and shapes with an intensity that raised Lucy's hope. "What am I supposed to see here, Lucy?" Jennifer finally asked, her tone mixed with confusion and curiosity. The words stung, yet they were not as acerbic as Lucy had anticipated. This was her moment, she realized. She could choose to shield her artwork, her soul, or reveal the depths behind it. Feeling the weight of the moment pressing against her chest, she decided. Leaning forward, she said, "This is not just paint on a wall. This is me. Every stroke, every color has a meaning just as complex as my life. I want you to see me, not just my art." The courage of those words sent a tremor of disbelief through her, yet there was a liberation in speaking them aloud. Jennifer's brows knit together, and for a fleeting moment, uncertainty flickered across her face. Could this be the moment she acknowledged Lucy's burgeoning identity not as a reflection of her own inadequacies, but as a triumph? The eyes of the gathering shifted from Jennifer to Lucy, a palpable silence enveloping the scene. This was it, the convergence she had anticipated yet feared, the chance to stand up for herself and redefine their relationship. Lucy, you've grown, haven't you? Jennifer finally said, not quite a question, more like a hesitant admission. Those words resonated painfully within Lucy. Would they lead to acceptance, or would the old patterns tighten their grip once more? As Lucy stood there grappling with a surge of conflicting emotions, the thought dawned on her. Perhaps the mural wasn't the only unveiling happening that night. Just as she was revealing her vibrant exterior, maybe she could unveil the strength she had buried deep within her. But would that strength hold when faced with more scrutiny? Would vulnerability truly be the path to transformation, or would it yield more pain as she navigated this new chapter? The tension between hope and dread enveloped her, crystallizing in that one question. Was she ready to answer for her artistic evolution, or merely grappling with her own identity? Lucy felt the silence stretch, a taut string of expectation as her heart raced. The gaze of the attendees shifted back and forth, as if they were collective spectators awaiting a performance. She could hear her own breath, shallow yet steady, and the noise of her thoughts amplified in the silence. Had she truly grown? Or was this just another moment where the darkness of doubt could creep in and smother the light of her discovery? Yes, she replied, her voice steadier than she anticipated. I've grown, and so has my art. This mural isn't just for you or anyone else. It's a testament to my journey, my struggles, and what I choose to embody now. For a moment, Jennifer's expression softened, a hint of recognition playing in her eyes. But immediately, there was a flicker of something more defensiveness. Lucy sensed the volatility of the moment. Could this acknowledgement blossom into genuine connection, or would it wither under the weight of past grievances? Jennifer shifted, her body language tightening as if bracing for resistance. I see you're passionate, but you must understand that not everyone will perceive it in the way you hope, she cautioned, the undertones of her voice a warning. Lucy felt her resolve splinter, but she clung to the fragments. Then explain it to them. Help them see what I'm trying to convey. Lucy's voice surged with urgency. This isn't just art, it's an invitation. The words poured from her, fueled by the energy swirling in the room. A murmur rippled through the small group surrounding the mural. Each word landed differently, perceived through varied lenses. As she observed their reactions, curiosity intermingled with skepticism. She realized this was both her strength and her challenge. Could she cultivate understanding amidst the cacophony of judgments? Picking up on Jennifer's frustration, Lucy took a breath to compose herself, knowing she needed to address her immediate emotions while also rising to the occasion. This mural represents more than just my experience. It depicts a universal quest for acceptance. It might take time for others to appreciate that, but it begins here with me being honest. The atmosphere shifted, as if Lucy's declaration was a catalyst. She felt the weight of Brandon's steady gaze, her friend who had always stood behind her, ready to amplify her voice when she feared it would falter. He stepped forward. Lucy's right, he interjected. Art can transform narratives. This piece is a call to look deeper. His affirmation ignited a ripple of support, rekindling the sense of empowerment sparked within her. Each acceptance transformed her perception, yet whispers lingered like shadows, reminding her that judgment could still surface. Did they truly grasp her intent? Could she sustain this momentum against the tide of their preconceptions? Jennifer's features softened again. There was a stare that Lucy hadn't seen in years, a sign of an unguarded openness. Okay, tell me more, she urged, her voice no longer combative but open to dialogue. For a fleeting moment, Lucy deliberated her next words, realizing they carried the weight of years unspoken. I want to show that every label, every obstacle becomes part of a larger picture. Just because I have a disability doesn't mean I can't create a vibrant life, rich with stories and connections, she said. A sense of clarity washed over her, threads of hope interweaving with thought, revealing new paths ahead. The room seemed to expand with Lucy's recognition, a birth of possibility that painted the air with potential. However, lurking in the recesses of her mind was a question she now knew she had to confront. Was she ready to unravel not just her work but the complexities of her relationship with Jennifer? Would the answers sought open doors or merely further entangle them in a web of past misunderstandings? Lucy felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The tension in the room faded slightly, but she knew this was just the beginning of forging a deeper connection. As she locked eyes with her stepmother, they shared a moment filled with unspoken possibilities. It was a silent agreement to move forward. The moment sparked a curiosity deep within her: what awaited if she chose to confront the realities of their relationship? And would the fear of vulnerability blossom into the strength she desperately sought, or tighten its grip around her once again? She took a step closer to Jennifer, ready to draw back the curtain on a life lived in shadows. Would this conversation be the catalyst for reconciliation, or would it plunge her deeper into uncertainty? As she inched closer to Jennifer, Lucy's heart felt heavy yet aflame with determination. This was not merely a confrontation. It was an unveiling, a journey toward clarity she had longed for in the labyrinthine corridors of their relationship. Each moment spent in silence had woven a tapestry of confusion, and now, with every step, she sought to unravel it. "Why is it so difficult for you to see me, Jennifer?" The words escaped her lips before she had a chance to tame the impulse. The once unassuming fabric of doubt began unraveling. It was no longer just her art on display, but her identity, her aspirations, and a yearning for understanding, all laid bare. Jennifer's features contorted, and for an instant, Lucy glimpsed a flicker of pain. "I've always seen you, Lucy," she responded, her voice taut as if it bore the weight of unspoken fears. "But sometimes what we see is clouded by our own expectations." The admission felt new, as if Jennifer herself had taken the first step out of years of defensive armor. The moment hung in the air, ripe with potential and peril. Could they shift from carefully guarded exchanges to an authentic dialogue? Lucy pondered, skeptical yet hopeful. "Then what do you expect from me?" she pressed, grounding herself in the vulnerability that sparked like electricity between them. In that moment, she understood that she had a choice: to react defensively or to embrace the discomfort that accompanied transformation. It had become clear that growth required not only showing her true self but also confronting ingrained perceptions. "I expect you to be the person I know you can be," Jennifer replied, an edge of sincere longing lacing her words. "But you have to realize that sometimes, we become trapped by the roles we play." Lucy felt a wave of conflict wash over her. Would continuing to share her reality merely amplify Jennifer's uncertainties or finally shatter the crystalline layers of misunderstanding? As anxiety rippled within her, she took a moment to ground herself. "And what if those roles are the only things making sense of who we are right now?" she challenged gently. Jennifer opened her mouth as if to retort but hesitated. The unguarded flicker in her eyes suggested introspection rather than defense. "You're right," she conceded softly. "Maybe I've held on to the past longer than I should have." The realization weighed heavily, yet it also left room for extraction, a chance for evolution. What would forgiveness look like? Would it be smoothing over jagged edges, or would it be the acknowledgement of shared pain? There was no answer she could give, but Lucy understood instinctively that it began with honesty, not just in her artwork but in their whole relationship. "I want to move forward," Lucy said, the strength of her conviction resonating in her words. "But I can't do it without your understanding." She felt the desire to intertwine their narratives, to elevate their bond away from merely being stepmother and daughter into something richer. As if responding to an internal shift, Jennifer nodded, her posture easing. "Let's peel back those layers together then," she suggested, her voice imbued with newfound resolve. Their pact lingered in the air, a fragile yet vital thread woven between them. Yet lurking within Lucy was a lingering apprehension. Would they simply scratch the surface of their issues? Did she possess the mental fortitude to confront deeper emotional wounds together? The remnants of fear dulled by the possibility of a meaningful connection echoed in her heart. This was not just a mere familial progression. It was a pivotal shift that could steer their lives onto a fortifying path. But beneath the excitement brewed a question that gnawed at her consciousness. What if their reconciliation unearthed more profound complications rather than healing? Would the truths revealed propel them further apart instead of binding them closer? Lucy took a deep breath, grounding herself in that uncertainty. The voyage ahead felt daunting, yet it also filled her with bolstered courage. She was ready to embrace whatever came next. As they stood at the precipice of change, Lucy's resolve ignited with the thought: the real challenge wasn't just here. It was in how they would carry these revelations into the world beyond. Would they dare to face the reactions, the judgments of others, once their collective truths were laid bare? The air was thick with the silence that followed their exchange, a charged quiet that crackled with the weight of unspoken words. Lucy's thoughts raced, battling the hope that had begun to unfurl within her chest. Could this be the moment she had long waited for, the catalyst that would propel them beyond the confines of misunderstandings that had defined their relationship for so long? Jennifer shifted her gaze, breaking the contact that had felt almost electric. "What now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, infused with a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. "We talk," Lucy replied, the simplicity of the statement grounding her amid the tumult within. "I think we need to lay everything out on the table. No more hiding beneath the roles we've assumed." Her desire felt palpable, but as she verbalized it, uncertainty began to creep in. What if vulnerability only opened deeper scars? But the call for honesty surged within her. "What if we unearth things neither of us is ready to face?" she added cautiously. The truth had a way of both liberating and binding people, and she had felt its dual force many times before. Jennifer's brows knitted slightly, her expression shifting from discomfort to contemplation as she contemplated the implications. "Perhaps we have to be willing to face those things, even if it's painful," she proposed hesitantly. "What's the point of living in shadows?" Lucy marveled at her stepmother's willingness to engage. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, peering into unknown depths. "We've both hidden behind our own shadows for so long," she said slowly. "It's terrifying to step into the light, but I think we have to try." With newfound resolve lighting her features, Jennifer nodded, the weight of the moment settling between them. "Then let us start. I want to understand you more deeply, even if it means revisiting the past." The path seemed daunting, but Lucy knew she had to start somewhere. Bracing herself, she recounted her journey, starting from the fractured moments that initially forged their distance. She spoke of her art, not just as a profession but as an internal struggle and a sanctuary. With every word, she peeled back defenses she hadn't even fully recognized were there, revealing layers of her identity she had seldom shared. Jennifer listened intently, her face reflecting a silent tumult of emotions. As Lucy described the burden she often felt from others' expectations, she noticed the way Jennifer's expression softened, an acknowledgement that perhaps they held shared struggles. That realization emboldened Lucy further. Then, something shifted in Jennifer. "I want to share too," she said, her voice trembling slightly, akin to a timid spark. "You need to know that my expectations were born from my own insecurities. I've been afraid to let you see my flaws, because I didn't want to set a bad example. I thought my strength would guide you." Lucy felt a surge of empathy that merged with her own growing understanding. "You've shown strength by being here, but resisting emotions only reaffirms the roles we're trying to break. What about showing us both flaws included?" Jennifer hesitated, the silence stretching between them once more. Yet this time it was not suffocating but rather a space for contemplation, an uncharted territory where either held control. In that moment, something shifted deep within Lucy. She recognized a transformation happening, not just for them as a unit but for herself individually. There would be hesitations, fears, and perhaps even confrontation, yet there existed an unyielding potential for growth. She could not just embrace her artistic vision, she could channel its energy into this relationship, nurturing it against the odds. As they moved deeper into their conversation, carefully excavating shared vulnerabilities, Lucy realized that this was only the beginning. Would knowing each other's raw truths lead them to freedom, or would it lay bare an insurmountable rift? But even amid hope, doubt lingered restlessly at the edges of her mind. Would they emerge from this renewed, or would their revelations lay waste to the fragile connection they slowly rebuilt? Lucy swallowed hard, feeling the weight of their unfolding narrative curve into unknown territory. The answers would redefine not only their relationship but themselves. All she could do was lean into this volatile mix of anticipation and fear, ready to confront whatever awaited them on the path ahead. What revelations lay in wait just beyond the horizon, threatening to challenge everything they thought they knew about themselves? The afternoon sun poured in through the windows, casting a warm glow on the unmade bed where Lucy sat, her heart pounding with anticipation. Each tick of the clock seemed to echo in her mind, a constant reminder of the stakes at play. She had pulled back the curtain to reveal the truths that had long festered in darkness, and now she faced the aftermath with an uneasy mixture of hope and fear. Jennifer had agreed to traverse this unsteady landscape of revelations, and Lucy recognized that the time for reflection was slipping away. There was no turning back now. She could feel the tension radiating from both of them, a taut string ready to snap. But they were committed, and for once, that commitment felt promising rather than perilous. "So," Lucy began, hesitance lacing her tone, "we've shared some of our burdens. But what about the fears that come with them? I know I have insecurities. I've struggled with the feeling that my art isn't enough, that it doesn't measure up to what others expect of me." As the words fell from her lips, Lucy felt a bittersweet relief wash over her. The acknowledgement of her fears empowered her, granting her the agency she had often denied herself in the pursuit of perfection. She noticed how Jennifer leaned forward, her eyes narrowing in understanding. "I often feel like I'm not living up to my own potential, like I'm a fake in my own life," Jennifer admitted, her voice edged with vulnerability. "I've masked my disappointments with authority, but deep down, I'm terrified of failure. I always thought I had to protect you from that fear by being this pillar of strength." The ripples of revelation cascaded between them, a shared human experience binding them together rather than tearing them apart. Lucy examined her stepmother's face, witnessing the struggle etched there as if writing a narrative of its own. The conversation had transformed into a sacred space, a realm where both could lay down the burdens they had carried alone for too long. "I thought we were so different," Lucy ventured cautiously. "But perhaps it's our fears that connect us more than anything else." The moment was pivotal. It opened a door to a realm previously unthought of. Lucy felt a surge of determination, her gaze steady on Jennifer. "What if we took this collective weight and turned it into something powerful? Something driven not by fear but by the truth of who we are?" Jennifer's response lingered in the air, a question unasked yet understood. Lucy could feel the seeds of possibilities sprouting around them. Could they develop a new framework for understanding one another, crafting a relationship based on authenticity instead of the facades they had constructed? As Lucy absorbed the gravity of what they were proposing, she felt something shift again within herself, a renewed sense of purpose. No longer chasing the ghost of perfection, she envisioned their dynamic as an evolving canvas, where both could paint their lives together, flaws, colors, passions, and all. Yet even amid growing hope, an underlying fear resurfaced. What if they dove too deep, unearthing emotions that could shatter them both? Would the newfound truths strengthen their bond or tear it further apart? The clock chimed, reminding her it was time for emotional honesty, to confront the pieces of herself and Jennifer still left unexamined. Lucy knew a reckoning lay ahead, not only for herself but for Jennifer as well. In that charged moment of silence, as the sun dipped lower in the sky, illuminating the room in a golden haze, Lucy made a choice. She decided to embrace this uncertainty. "Let us go deeper, Jennifer. Let us not just unpack our fears. Let us explore what they have kept us from experiencing. I want to understand where our shadows overlap, and more importantly, how we can turn those overlaps into strengths." With her heart racing, Lucy felt the turbulence of their journey unite them, but it also hinted at storms yet to come. What would it require to fully release the shadows that had defined them and emerge transformed? Only time would unfold that revelation, and Lucy was ready to face whatever address awaited them in the depths of their newfound honesty. The path was treacherous, but it was theirs to navigate together. The following morning, the air was cool and crisp, a reflection of the renewed clarity Lucy felt in her heart. As she sat at her small art table, brush in hand, she gazed at the blank canvas before her, a metaphor for her journey into the unknown. The fear from the previous day lingered, but it was tempered by a burgeoning excitement for what was to come, a vital shift towards transformation. Lucy dipped her brush into a palette of vibrant colors, each hue reflecting the myriad emotions she had unpacked with Jennifer. She realized that the act of painting had shifted from a solitary endeavor to a collective exploration. What would emerge from the canvas was not just her expression but also a conversation between her and her stepmother, a blend of their fears and hopes brought to life through art. As she applied brush to canvas, each stroke imbued with intent, her mind wandered to the layers of honesty yet to be explored with Jennifer. It was a personal invitation to probe deeper, to weave the complexities of their fears into the fabric of their relationship. The thought energized her: what if they used art as a tool for their shared healing? A plan began to form. The art studio was an underutilized space at the back of their home, neglected and filled with dust-covered supplies. What if they cleared it out together? They could create a sanctuary for their artistic endeavors, a safe haven to explore their emotions while reinforcing their bond. No longer would the studio be a mere workspace. It would stand as a testament to the journey they were embarking on. Let us make it an art studio, she murmured to herself, imagining the bright colors brightening not only the walls but also their relationship. Shaking off self-doubt, she pictured inviting Jennifer to join her in this venture, sharing laughter and struggles amidst splatters of paint and canvases. It was a bold notion, but the idea resonated deeply. The following day, Lucy took the initiative to suggest it at breakfast. I was thinking we could turn the old studio into an art space for both of us, she said, nervous yet firm. Jennifer paused, chewing thoughtfully, her brow furrowing. Lucy's heart raced. Would she see the value in this? I love that idea, Jennifer replied, a smile breaking through her contemplative expression. It could be a space for us, a way to express everything that we've uncovered together. Relief flooded Lucy's veins, but it was more than relief, it was the warm, blossoming feeling of being a partner in this journey. They spent the day cleaning out the studio, the mundane task infused with laughter and stories, a necessary bonding process. With every item they removed, Lucy felt not just the weight of dust lifting from the space itself, but also a layer of emotional debris unraveling within herself. As they discarded old paint cans and dated canvases, she felt ready to confront the deeper shadows that threatened to linger. At lunch, amidst the remnants of their work, Lucy found herself opening up further. What do you think has held us back, really? Her voice trembled slightly, bearing the weight of the question. Jennifer met her gaze, the wisdom of years palpable in her eyes. Fear. It's been our greatest enemy. We've hidden behind expectations, both of ourselves and of each other. But that doesn't have to define us anymore. Lucy nodded thoughtfully. She realized their journey wasn't just about unveiling fears, but also about redefining who they were outside of those fears, transforming inadequacies into strengths. As they sat in the now clean studio, Lucy felt a surge of optimism. They could create art rooted in honesty, a celebration of their vulnerabilities. But just as anticipation glimmered, she felt tendrils of uncertainty creep back in. Would they have the strength to confront everything that lay beneath the surface? Would art truly help lift their burdens, or would it expose them more deeply? This new chapter in their lives swelled with promise, yet doubt lingered in the corners of Lucy's mind. They had taken the first step, but only time would reveal the truths that awaited in the depths of their artwork. With a fierce determination, Lucy was ready to delve deeper, ready to create something that would redefine not just their art, but their relationship altogether. She couldn't help but wonder what final secrets of their past haunted their creative expressions, and how could they unearth these truths to forge ahead. A new decision loomed on the horizon, one that could determine the very core of their bond. Would Lucy and Jennifer face these hidden depths together, or would the revelations draw them apart? The studio, now filled with potential, awaited their first brush strokes of truth. Lucy stood in the art studio, the once neglected space now joyfully adorned with colors splashed across canvases, remnants of past struggles blending into a vibrant tapestry of hope and resilience. Each brush stroke on the wall emanated a newfound energy, an extension of her growth, and a communal testament to her journey with Jennifer. The canvas felt like a living entity, encompassing not just her personal evolution, but the bond that was slowly reshaping between them. Gone were the days of feeling overshadowed by expectations. Lucy had proven to herself and to those around her that her voice held undeniable power. As she reflected on the moments that had brought her here, she realized how far she had come. No longer did she seek validation from others. Now, she celebrated her identity with solid confidence: an artist, a daughter, and most importantly, herself. The sun shone through the large windows of the studio, casting playful patterns on the floor, symbolizing a new chapter filled with promise. With Jennifer stepping more into her role as a supportive ally rather than a critical judge, Lucy found herself thriving. They spent afternoons discussing artistic techniques, exchanging ideas, and unwinding the complexities of both their experiences through art. These bonding moments were no longer a rarity but transformed into cherished rituals, a space where they could fully embrace their authentic selves without concealment. Recognition of this growth didn't remain confined to the art studio. It permeated every facet of Lucy's life. Her mural, once feared to be unnoticed, became a focal point of admiration amongst friends. Her peers began to rally around her, intrigued by the narrative woven into her colors. The acknowledgement felt like vindication, her journey validated not just by a single moment but through the continuous support that surrounded her. One afternoon, as she prepared for an art exhibition featuring her piece, Lucy received an email that ignited a fire within her: an invitation to showcase her art at a local gallery. This was an opportunity she had only dared to dream about. A wave of exhilaration surged through her. She couldn't help but see this as the pinnacle of her journey, an affirmation of her artistry merging with the reality of her potential. Here lay a chance to share her story with the world and to stand firmly in her truth. The day of the exhibition arrived, a bright and sunny Saturday afternoon. As Lucy rolled into the gallery, her heart raced not with fear but with excitement. The walls were adorned with her works, vibrant colors reflecting the many narratives of her growth, resilience, and the reclamation of her identity. Each piece was an invitation to witness her journey, to understand not just the surface but the profound questions and multifaceted stories beneath. In the crowds, Lucy spotted familiar faces, friends who had always supported her, but there was also Jennifer standing proudly among them. Their eyes met, and a silent understanding passed between them. Every layer they had unpeeled would fortify their connection. Jennifer was now advocating for Lucy's talent, introducing her to guests as her daughter, the artist. The warmth of acceptance enveloped Lucy, igniting her ambition further. At the end of that emotional day, Lucy offered a speech that encapsulated her journey. Art is not only about what we create but also about how we share our truths, she began, her voice unwavering. Each canvas tells my story, but it also reflects the journey I've taken to acknowledge my voice, my identity, a celebration of who I am. I hope that through my work, others can see the importance of stepping into their truths. The applause that followed felt like a tangible thread stitching her transformation into a rich tapestry of accomplishment. Emboldened and grounded in her newfound confidence, Lucy realized she had transcended so much more than the confines of her art. She had conquered not just the doubts once cast by her stepmother, but also the fears that had lingered within her spirit. As she embraced her achievements, it became clear: vulnerability had been her strength, collaboration her revival, and honesty a bridge to genuine relationships. That night, as Lucy looked around the bustling gallery, a deep sense of fulfillment cascaded over her. She had transformed her doubts into moments of light, forged a meaningful connection with her stepmother, and cultivated a space that embraced artistic expression. This was not merely the end of a chapter, but the beginning of a life painted boldly with hues of authenticity. With that realization, a newfound determination sparked within her. This is just the beginning, she thought, gazing at her artwork glimmering under the gallery lights. Her journey towards self-acceptance had sparked a fire. She knew she would continue to push the boundaries of her expressed identity. At that moment, she knew she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The canvas of her life was waiting for more vibrant strokes, and Jennifer would be a cherished collaborator, no longer standing in her shadows but side by side, navigating the world of creativity together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share.